Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. We have a great show for you today. First, the latest on the case against Luigi Mangione. A quick Daniel Penny update. Jay-Z says, I did nothing wrong. The ex-sheriff, Mickey Stines' new developments. A judge in Colorado says, you can't make Google do the cop's job. We have this day in legal history and our dumb criminal of the day. Let's talk about it.
All right, lawyer.
Good day, everyone. My name is Scott Reich, and this is Crime Talk. Thanks for joining us. You know the drill. Subscribe if you haven't. Like if you do. Leave me a comment below. Hit that little bell for notifications. And remember, you can always check us out on any of your favorite podcasting apps. Now, I want to thank all of you. We got over the 275,000 subscribers yesterday. We were like this close, and you guys pushed us over the top. So thank you very much. Hopefully we provide value to you, bring you information that you find interesting and hopefully insightful by the time I get done talking about it. So thank you very much. Also, we haven't done a live in a couple of weeks just because I have been in trial. Then I was kind of not feeling great. And anyway, we're back. We're rested. We're ready to go. So our live tonight, 6 p.m. Mountain Time. What are we going to talk about? Well, the Luigi Mangione case, maybe a little bit of Daniel Penny. We got that case against Mickey Stines and what the new revelations are in that case and what does it mean to the defense, if anything. So please join us tonight. And immediately following that, we'll do our Patreon show where, yes, you'll be able to call in and we can talk about all of the news events of the day on the secret Crime Talk bat line. So join us tonight, 6 p.m. Mountain Time. All right, first on the docket. Yes, Luigi Mangione, right? The family of Luigi, the Ivy League graduate charged with the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, say that they are absolutely devastated by the arrest and what has been revealed, which obviously says that their son was the alleged gunman, and apparently he spiraled after undergoing a traumatic back surgery. So the official statement says, our family is shocked and devastated by Luigi's arrest. The family said in their statement, shared by his cousin, Nino Mangione, a Republican Baltimore County delegate. We offer our prayers to the family of Brian Thompson, and we ask people to pray for all involved. We are absolutely devastated by the news. That's from the Mangione family. And they also added that they cannot comment on news reports regarding the accused killer, who was arrested at a Pennsylvania McDonald's on Monday morning following the 5-day manhunt. They said that we only know what we've read in the media, the family said. Now, Luigi Mangione was reported to police by an Altoona McDonald's employee who recognized the suspected gunman from photos released by the New York Police Department. Now, local police approached Mangione while he was eating at the restaurant, and apparently he started to shake. Now, it's unclear what he was eating, if it was in the morning or was he there to get the limited time offer of a McRib sandwich. But either way, when you get hungry, you get hungry. Anyway, like I said, the police approached him and he started to shake. When they asked if he had been to New York recently, according to the criminal complaint. Apparently, Mangione provided them with a fake ID from New Jersey, believed to be the same one he used when checking into a Manhattan hostel before the killing. You know, say he was taken into custody. And apparently, this police officer's been on the job for like 6 days. So he got the big hero's welcome at the press conference. Now, police also discovered a ghost gun with a silencer on Mangione and other items that sources say were consistent with what police were seeking, including a rambling handwritten manifesto that claimed these parasites had it coming. He said, quote, in the manifesto writings, I do apologize for any strife of traumas, but it had to be done, he wrote. Now, Luigi Mangione is a smart guy. He went to the University of Pennsylvania, both undergrad and graduate degrees in like electrical engineering or computer science. That was it, computer science. Smart guy, but he comes from a pretty well-to-do family. Apparently they've done well in real estate. They have many golf courses that they've owned, country clubs. They apparently own a radio station and lots of real estate. So he comes from a good upbringing, and the question then makes you beg the question, what the hell went wrong? So apparently in the weeks leading up to the shooting, he became estranged from his friends and family, according to law enforcement. And Mangione's mother actually reported him missing on November 18th, possibly from a home in San Francisco where he lived for a time, and reached out to his peers as they tried to track him down. Now, what keeps coming up throughout this story is this back surgery that apparently changed him, and he went, as some described, as crazy. Now, I don't think he's crazy, but I think he was revengeful. Now, like I said, Mangione hasn't made any statements since his arrest to law enforcement, but he did have an advisement in Pennsylvania this morning where the issue of bond and extradition was coming up, and there was apparently $8,000 found on his person in U.S. dollars and $2,000 in some foreign currency. Mr. Mangione wanted to correct the record that was not his money, and that must have been planted in some way because that wasn't his, but apparently didn't deny anything else in the contents or statements that the district attorney brought up. So that was in Pennsylvania. He was arraigned for the weapons charge, forgery charge there in Pennsylvania, and then ultimately he was been charged with murder in New York City. This is going to be crazy. All right, this is going to make Ted Bundy, Chris Watts look like the minor leagues. This Mangione guy, I mean, you've seen these pictures of him in Hawaii. He's like totally ripped. This guy is going to have the biggest fan club that you can possibly imagine. Not condoning what he's doing, but I'm just telling you. And the funny thing is apparently this guy, hurt his back in a surfing accident, had to have surgery, whatever, was never the same. Apparently his stuff doesn't work because of the back injury, and yet he's going to have all these women fawning over him. Not that he's ever going to be free from prison. I mean, we'll give him the presumption of innocence. Maybe, I mean, there's lots of people out there that are already saying this is some sort of psyop. This isn't the right guy. I mean, he all but admitted it, and they had a gun, a ghost-made gun, which was, basically a homemade 3D printed gun with a silencer on it. And on the bullets, he had deny, defend, and depose. I mean, it's going to be, I can't wait for this trial. I mean, we'll see if he goes to trial. And then what's really interesting, though, is his YouTube account put up this little clock that basically said, if you're seeing this, I've been arrested. Well, I'm assuming while he's been fumbling there with the police, he didn't hit, let's go public on my YouTube page. So the question is, how did that happen? Or did somebody else do it for him? Now, there's also a rumor, and I'm trying to find this out. Maybe we'll know by the live tonight. Apparently, there was some live that was supposed to go up on his YouTube channel today, but I don't know. That's just innuendo and rumor, because how's he going to do that? And I think YouTube has probably already shut down his account at this point. We also take a look at this guy. Here's his Instagram photos that were up before Instagram took it down. But once again, the crack team here at CrimeTalk was able to save that. Now, this is going to be lots of twists and turns. He's going to be charged apparently with second-degree murder in the case of, now he's going to be charged with second-degree murder of Brian Thompson there in New York. Going to be lots of new stuff developing as this case comes along. We'll bring it to you. It's going to be interesting. I just can't believe the guy's already got this fan club. I mean, it's amazing. And I get it. I mean, obviously we said don't condone violence. We'll give him the presumption of innocence. And if that's not him, they got to prove it, right? They got to prove that it was him, not someone who looked like him, not someone using his identity, but it was in fact him, Mr. Luigi, that did it. Luigi Mangione, whether he's the guy that did it or not. Now, I was kind of hoping the little cat and mouse game would have lasted a little longer than the 5 days that it went, just because it would have been really interesting to see how he got away. But he didn't go very far. And it looks like he went back home. We pulled up his search on CrimeTalkSearch.com, and he has friends in Pennsylvania. Obviously, went to school there. Didn't go far. Isn't it funny? They always go home. Always go home. All right. We'll bring it to you, the new information as it comes available, and we'll bring it to you live tonight, 6 p.m., so please join us. And if you haven't done so, like I said, go to crimetalksearch.com, sign up for that background subscription service. Whether you want to find out about Luigi Mangione or you want to find out about Sean Mickey Stines, you can do that. Anybody that gets in trouble, frankly, anybody here in the United States, while you have that background subscription service, and you're going to find out whether they have a criminal history, where they live, their social media information, email addresses, phone numbers, all those things, maybe you're just curious about or you really want to know because this person is coming into your life. Go to crimetalksearch.com. And remember, you can cancel at any time. So whether you want to do one search or 1,000 searches, it's all the same. Use it. CrimeTalkSearch.com. Next, let's talk about the Daniel Penny case. Yes, it is December 10th, 2024, and Alvin Bragg is still the worst district attorney in America. And all the usual suspects showed up last night. There's video out there of the Black Lives Matter people protesting the verdict in the Daniel Penny case. Now, the Daniel Penny case is something quite simple. All right. So Daniel Penny is a hero. All right. Jordan Neely comes onto this train last year threatening to kill people, literally threatening to kill people, take their lives, and he didn't care about any of the consequences. And then you have these newspaper articles, these mainstream publications coming out that says Jordan Neely, a street performer, was killed by a white man on a subway. What a bunch of garbage. This is the narrative, ladies and gentlemen. Are these news organizations or are they just propagandists for, BLM, for God's sakes? Are you kidding me? So let's take a little stroll down memory lane. Remember, Jordan Neely, 2015, kidnapped a 7-year-old girl. 2019, Jordan Neely punched a 64-year-old man in the face. In 2021, Jordan Neely slugged a 67-year-old woman in the face as she exited the subway, breaking her nose and fracturing her orbital bone. Neely was arrested 44 times, but never faced real justice for terrorizing anyone there in New York. Okay, he was not just a little harmless street performer. Let's put it into context. And 12 jurors found Daniel Penny not guilty, ladies and gentlemen. 12 jurors. To get a jury to agree on anything is difficult, ladies and gentlemen. Think about it. Next time you have 4 or 5 people in your office and you say, where do you want to go to lunch? And of those 4 to 5 people, you're getting about 8 different answers, ladies and gentlemen. So the worst district attorney in America brought a case that should have never been brought. He should have been given a key to the city. That's Daniel Penny. Should have been given a key to the city. Instead, he got an indictment. Ladies and gentlemen, if you live in New York and you can vote there in Manhattan to get rid of Alvin Bragg when he comes up for re-election, please do so. He is the worst district attorney in America. Now, like I said, a lot of people came out, protested. I am all for people exercising their First Amendment rights. We are First Amendment advocates. We are First Amendment absolutists. We have said that for years and years on our show. But as soon as you assault somebody, you damage property, you set something on fire, you're no longer exercising your First Amendment rights. You are becoming a criminal. So I'm not aware of any damage or anything along those lines. It was peaceful protest. God bless you. Go do it. But don't go out there like Jordan Neely's dad, who basically abandoned him as a child and then files a wrongful death lawsuit, even though he hasn't been in his life for years. And where was he when Jordan Neely was, being arrested 44 times? But now he's looking for a payday. Give me a break, ladies and gentlemen. This kind of garbage happens all the time. Next, Jay-Z. That's right. The movie mogul Jay-Z says a rape allegation made against him is nothing more than an extortion attempt. A woman who previously sued Sean P. Diddy Do-It Combs alleges that she was raped at an award show after party in 2000 when she was only 13 years old. Now, the amended lawsuit includes a new allegation that Jay-Z was also at the party and participated in the sexual assault. Now, the 24-time Grammy award-winning rapper, producer, and music mogul called the allegations idiotic and heinous in nature, in a statement released by his company, or one of his companies, Rock Nation. He also revealed that he had anonymously sued the woman's lawyer, Tom Busby, last month, alleging he was trying to blackmail the rapper by threatening to make the rape allegations public if he didn't agree to a legal settlement. He says that Busby sent a letter to his lawyer appearing to seek a settlement, but that the letter had the opposite effect on him. It made me want to expose you for the fraud that you are in a very public fashion, Jay-Z's statement noted. So no, I will not give you one red penny. The litigation is part of a wave of sexual assault lawsuits levied against Combs as his hip-hop mogul remains in custody in New York, awaiting trials of a federal sex trafficking charge. Now, the unnamed woman says she was hanging around the Radio City Music Hall during the 2000 MTV Video Music Awards and managed to talk a limousine driver into bringing her to a celebrity-studded party at a private residence after the event. Now, certainly, we'll give everyone the presumption of innocence here. Civil case, they still got to prove it, all that good stuff. Here you go, ladies and gentlemen. We talk about, parents and their responsibility. Why is a 13-year-old at this event without parental supervision, not victim shaming, just asking? We talk about all these parents that, I don't know what happened. If it happened, then obviously he needs to be held accountable, pay accordingly on the civil case. But if it didn't happen, all these questions have to be brought up. What the hell was a 13-year-old doing and then going to an after party? Where the hell were her parents? Anyway, the young lady says that she was in a limousine. She was asked to sign a non-disclosure agreement once at the party, and the lawsuit said she took a drink that made her feel woozy and lightheaded and went into the bedroom to lie down. She said that Combs and Jay-Z, whose legal name is Sean Carter, then barged into the room along with another unnamed celebrity and raped her. The woman said she eventually escaped the room, fled the house, and called for a ride from a nearby gas station. Now, Busby, a personal injury lawyer in Houston, says that the notion that he was just trying to blackmail Jay-Z is stupid and laughable, and that his letter simply sought confidential mediation in the litigation. What he fails to say in his recent statement is that my firm sent his lawyer a basic demand letter on behalf of the alleged victim and that the victim never demanded a penny from him. He said in an emailed statement, "Since I sent the letter on her behalf, Mr. Carter has not only sued me, but he has tried to bully and harass me and his plaintiff. And this plaintiff, his conduct has had the opposite impact. She is now emboldened, and I am very proud of her resolve," Busby said. Now, Jay-Z's attorney, a guy by the name of Alex Spiro, filed court paperwork Monday asking for the judge to require his accuser, who is only identified as Jane Doe, to reveal her identity if she wants to continue the lawsuit. Spiro says the woman hasn't provided any evidence to justify her anonymity and that her vague assertions of potential harm fall far short of the stringent requirements under the law to keep her anonymous. I would tend to agree with that. If you're an adult, you're going to sue somebody, you should not have anonymity. You're making allegations, you want to go to court, you want to make them public, you got to put your name out there because guess what? You're making those allegations, you need to be able to back them up, and guess what? Your credibility does come into play in every time a case is brought and the witness is going to testify. Spiro, the attorney for Jay-Z, has asked for a urgent hearing on the matter, and he simply said, hey, Mr. Carter deserves to know the identity of the person who is effectively accusing him in sensationalized publicity hunting fashion of criminal conduct, demanding massive financial compensation and tarnishing the reputation earned over the decades, his attorney wrote. He has never been accused of, let alone anything, including any sexual misconduct. Now, Busby announced at a news conference back in October of this year that he represents some 120 people, both men and women, with allegations of sexual misconduct against Sean P. Did He Do It Combs. His firm, which has set up a 1-800 number for accusers, began filing a wave of suits against the hip-hop mogul just a few weeks later. Now, Jay-Z, in his statement, challenged Busby to seek criminal charges and said his heart and support goes out to the true victims in the world. He also lamented that he and his wife, Beyonce, will likely have to address these claims with their 3 children and explain the cruelty and greed of people. I mourn yet another loss of innocence, Jay-Z said in his statement. Now, Combs' lawyer also put out a statement and dismissed Busby's lawsuits as shameful publicity stunts designed to extract payments from celebrities who fear having lies spread about them, just as lies have been spread about Mr. Combs. As you may recall, Mr. Combs was denied bail for a 3rd time last month. He pled not guilty to the charges and alleging that he had coerced and abused women for years and faces a trial in May of 2025. Now, Jay-Z and Combs are part of a generation of hip-hop moguls who rose to prominence in the early 2000s with a wide-ranging entrepreneurial spirits and the 2 of the world's wealthiest rappers. Earlier this year, Forbes estimated Jay-Z's net worth to be a paltry $2.5 billion. Now, these artists have collaborated over the years, with Jay-Z being featured on Combs' debut album, No Way Out, and Combs appearing on Jay-Z's sophomore album, In My Lifetime, Volume 1. While the pair has been frequently photographed together at events, they have also been competitors. Now, Diddy launched his Bad Boy Records around the same time Jay-Z launched Rockefeller Records. I don't know. I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. These are tough cases. These are tough cases. I just did one last week. Just tough cases. We kicked off half the jury pool just because of any allegation of sexual assault. They're tough cases for the defense. Now, we got not guilty on all 5 counts, I might add. So, Jay-Z, call me. Anyway, I digress. I'm just joking, of course. Anyway, they're tough cases. They're very, very tough cases. And you don't know. There's probably a little bit of truth on both sides of it, but you have to give everybody the presumption of innocence. I don't know Jay-Z. I mean, I know he had, came from a rough beginning, but he's obviously has done very well for himself. And I'm not saying, I'm just, I can say I've seen over the years, you see a lot of these people, they get a lot of money, they get a lot of power and influence. They believe that they are beyond approach. They can do whatever they want. And they oftentimes engage in a bunch of hedonistic kind of stuff because I guess that's the only thing that is really going to make them happy. They got everything else, right? I don't know what happened. But as we say in the criminal defense world, whatever's going to happen to Jay-Z, whether he litigates this or settles it, sounds expensive. And there would be no need for most criminal defense attorneys, but hey, there will always be sex, drugs, and alcohol, ladies and gentlemen, and everything that flows from that. Just saying. Next on the docket, a quick update on the ex-sheriff Mickey Stines case. Now, we brought you the story yesterday, but I just want to kind of recap it because I think it got lost in all the news of old Luigi. But the judge killed in chambers by the sheriff is allegedly being part of a sextortion scheme where women on house arrest exchange sex for special treatment, some of the lawyers are saying. So the Kentucky judge shot and killed in his chambers by the county sheriff earlier this year was allegedly part of a sex for favors scheme, according to a witness in a case against a deputy convicted back in January of 2022 for raping a prisoner. So Sabrina Atkins, she told investigators that the then deputy, Ben Fields, had videos of girls that were sexual in nature and sexual stuff in the chambers of District Judge Kevin Mullins, who was shot to death in his chambers on September 19th by the now former Letcher County Sheriff Sean Mickey Stines. So although Stines has pled not guilty, no information has been provided as to an official motive. But Atkins testified against Fields after he pled guilty to raping her. And she was on home monitoring while he was a court security officer for the sheriff's office and worked a side job for monitoring a company in eastern Kentucky at Correctional Services. Now, he was initially indicted on 7 felony counts and 1 misdemeanor, but pled guilty to a third-degree rape, third-degree sodomy, 2 counts of tampering with a prisoner monitoring device, and a second-degree perjury, and was sentenced to 6 months in prison and 6.5 years on probation. Now, the other charges against him were dropped because a second victim actually died. Now, Fields was never charged with abusing his position as a deputy or a jailer. Now, Atkins was one of 2 women who filed a civil lawsuit against Field, which also named Stines as a defendant in his official capacity as the sheriff, saying he failed to train or supervise Fields adequately. Now, Stine was deposed in that case just a few days before the murder of Mullins, and he claimed he had no knowledge of his former deputy's activities until the criminal charges were filed against him, and obviously he fired him immediately. But Miss Atkins told investigators that she and other prisoners not only had sex with Fields in exchange for bail, but she saw a video showing Mullins, the judge, allegedly having sex with a prisoner in his chambers. At first, she said she saw the video of Fields and some higher ups, but moments later admitted, quote, "I saw Judge Mullins having sex with a girl." It's like they were running a brothel out of the courtroom, Atkins' attorney stated. Now, according to the lawsuit, Atkins said she met Fields at least 6 times in Mullins' chambers for sex after he told her she wouldn't have to wear or pay for an ankle monitor while on home arrest if she did so. Mullins' chambers were used apparently as after hours, the complaint alleges, because there were no cameras. But surveillance cameras in the Mullins chambers obviously were there installed, and it showed Stines shooting the judge as he sat in his desk, and it's not clear when those cameras were actually installed. Anyway, Stines and Mullins got into this disagreement over lunch, apparently, on the day of the shooting, and Stines came back to the courthouse that afternoon. He went in to see the judge, shot him, and then left the judge's chambers and surrendered immediately, saying, basically, go easy on me. Needless to say, he's resigned, and he's entered a plea of not guilty, and he's been charged with the murder of a public official. So, once again, ladies and gentlemen, we bring it to you. You got to take everything with a grain of salt, but you have a lawsuit that's been filed. The woman's using her name, so she's standing behind it. Now the question is, where are these videos? Pretty bold allegations to make. Proving it is yet another thing. Listen, we're not disparaging anybody, bringing you the information that we have that's coming from an actual civil case that's been filed. We're going to have to wait and see. But even if old ex-sheriff Mickey Stines found out that the judge was engaging in such conduct, it's not a defense to murder. I'm not even sure if that rises to heat of passion. Heat of passion has to be something that takes place kind of right there, right then, right now, that is so powerful that it just completely overrides your thinking of what's taking place and being a rational person. I don't see that in this particular case. Please tell me there's something more, because right now I just don't see heat of passion. Right now I see cold-blooded murder, kind of like old Luigi, cold-blooded murder. I mean, giving both of them the presumption of innocence, but if it's them, it's cold-blooded murder, right? We know in the case of Sheriff Stines, it's not a question of, it's not a whodunit, it's why. That's the only thing that matters in the Stines case. Next, a judge in Colorado says the district attorney can't get everything they want from Google and quit making Google do the police officer's job. So, obviously, we live in an age where literally everything can be searched, and Google can help anyone find just about anything they want to find out in the world. And apparently, there are still some limits to Google's ability to provide all that data in aid of law enforcement. So a Colorado judge granted Google's motion to quash a search warrant filed by the 8th Judicial District Attorney's Office as being overly broad and unduly burdensome. The court noted in its order the following. The court has little trouble concluding that the reverse keyword warrant seeks records that are unusually voluminous in nature and impose an undue burden on Google, wrote Judge Villanessor in his order. Now, earlier in the year, the district attorney's office up in Fort Collins filed a reverse search warrant with Google requesting data on people who search for a specific address in Fort Collins. Fort Collins, it's about an hour and 15-minute drive from the Denver area. Beautiful city, has a wonderful college up there, Colorado State University. Lovely, lovely place. Always in like the top 10 places to live in America. Lovely city, lovely city. Now, investigators believe that an unknown perpetrator used Google to survey a location and that they may have looked for news of their exploits afterwards on Google. And of course, a magistrate judge, who usually rubber stamps everything, initially granted the search warrant based on an affidavit provided by the Fort Collins police detectives. And then on October 24th, Google filed a civil case in the District Court of Larimer County to quash the warrant. The quashing the warrant is basically saying it's overly broad and unduly burdensome. And to protect the integrity of the underlying investigation, which no one has been charged with the crime, the judge suppressed the original complaint and closed the courtroom during a hearing held on December 3rd. But in the order that was issued on Friday, the judge omitted details about the investigation, but expounded on his reasons for killing the warrant. Google legal investigator analyst, a woman by the name of Nikki Adeli, told the court that Google juggles 100,000 requests related to legal processes each year, along with 60,000 to 70,000 search warrants. Let that sink in, ladies and gentlemen. Now, according to Adeli, the company could not determine the specific location someone was in when they made the search. So under the search warrant served, Google would have had a hard time to look for specific individuals among billions of users who looked up 5 separate search queries during an 18-day period, a feat that could take weeks, if not months, to narrow down to a 1 million-person shortlist. Given the breathtakingly broad scope of each search term group, it's obvious, the judge wrote, and Google raised claims under the First and Fourth Amendment as well as the Stored Communications Act to block the search. Now, the Fourth Amendment claim allowed Google to request a hearing, which prosecutors quietly were against. And the judge found that buried in its brief by the prosecution, they timidly argue that Google lacks standing to challenge the search warrant on Fourth Amendment grounds. So basically they're saying, shut up, Google, just give us what we want. Anyway, the judge sided with the prosecutors in rejecting the Fourth Amendment argument, but the judge then declined to analyze the merits of Google's First Amendment free speech claim after finding the company's Stored Communication Act argument adequately blocked the warrant. Now remember, the Stored Communications Act is basically what gives a lot of these online companies immunity, okay? From what people say and what people post. But in exchange for that, they have to cooperate with law enforcement, right? If I send a subpoena to Google saying, please give me this information that the prosecution's wanting, you don't get it. They say, sorry, you need to go to the person and they need to provide it. But under the Stored Communications Act, law enforcement has like a direct line. It used to be a fax number. Now they just email it. And they say, give me all this stuff. And Google says, we'll try to comply the best we can. Anyway, the court agrees with Google that the search warrant violates the SCA because it requires production of records that are unusually voluminous in nature, and compliance with the warrant imposes an undue burden upon Google, one of the richest companies in the world, the judge wrote. So, motion quashed. And I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, this reverse search stuff, scary stuff. And police, they don't even do real investigations anymore. They just send off search warrants. Literally, let me give you an example. A store was robbed, and they believed that the time that the store was robbed was, say, between 12 and 1 a.m. Instead of saying, oh, let's go do, gumshoe detective type work, let's look for other witnesses, surveillance cameras. No, they just go to Google and say, we want you to do a search in these little coordinates around this business to find out who brought their phone in the hours between 12 and 1 a.m. in the morning when this place was allegedly broken into. Literally, ladies and gentlemen, that's what they do. And then they find out who that phone that is, and they go arrest the person. It's not even police work. It's like total 1984 type stuff, ladies and gentlemen. And I get it. But the question is ultimately, who ultimately owns that information? Is it Google's information or is it your information? Supreme Court right now says it's Google's information, so you got to turn it over. But maybe the laws change. But not that I'm telling anybody to commit crime. I'm not. But if you do, don't take your phone. How many times have I had to tell you that? Next on the docket, this day in legal history. On December 10th, 1869, ladies and gentlemen, the governor of Wyoming, the governor of the Wyoming Territory, to be more exact, signed the first U.S. legislation granting women the right to vote. Yeah, I bet most people didn't know that. Wyoming, first state to allow women the right to vote. Figure, hey, if you can be anybody in Wyoming in 1869, you probably deserved the right to vote. Tough life out there. And on this day in 2014, the Senate releases the CIA torture report. It was a detailed Senate Intelligence Committee report that revealed controversial interrogation techniques used by the CIA after 9/11, obviously sparking legal and ethical debates under the law, as well as the legal arguments as it relates to confessions, even of that of not citizens, but non-combatants. A lot of people in Gitmo, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, next, our dumb criminal of the day. So a judge has jailed 2 environmental wackadoo protesters who spray painted a Cessna Citation CJ1 parked at a Sylt airport in northern Germany. I remember when this happened, and I was offended. You all, if you've been following for a while, you know I love aviation, and I'm telling you, you don't touch another man's wife. Female doesn't touch another man's husband, right? There's just things you don't do. Well, you don't touch another man's car. You don't touch somebody's airplane, ladies and gentlemen. And take a look at this photo. Look at what they did to this. So, according to the report, a unnamed 24-year-old woman was sentenced to 7 months in prison for joint damage and trespassing, along with a 22-year-old woman who received a 6-month sentence. Now, fines were levied in the amount of about $2,200 US, and they were also imposed on another pair of protesters from the group called Last Generation. Now, these unnamed defendants were aged 62 and 44, and all 4 sentences were in line with those sought by the prosecutors. The judge did acquit one 29-year-old defendant on the grounds that he was at the protest as a photojournalist. Another 28-year-old was acquitted as well after her lawyer established that she was not involved in the crime. Now, according to the prosecutors, the protesters damaged at least $1 million in damage to the private jet, and they also cut the airport security fence to get to the airplane. 8 days later, the same defendants were alleged to have dug holes in a nearby golf course in Sylt and planted a tree and flowers there as well. This case was that case has not been concluded, apparently. Anyway, prosecutors determined that the high sentence would result from the airport case. Photos showing the citation after it was sprayed showed paint covering most of the wings, fuselage, and some of the paint got into the jet's turbofan engines, ladies and gentlemen, which more than likely would probably cause at least an inspection, if not a, overhaul could be. You know what an overhaul costs on one of those engines? Just a hot section. The minor inspection, ladies and gentlemen, is about $250,000 per engine. And these people, a minor fine for causing $1 million in damage. Are you kidding me? What kind of show you guys run there in Germany, ladies and gentlemen? What kind of show? I would have given them the death penalty. That's all I'm saying. The death penalty. Damage a plane, death penalty. It's that simple. All right, that's all we have for you today, ladies and gentlemen. Please join us tonight, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, for our live show. It's going to be great. We're going to talk about Luigi. We're going to talk about Mickey. We're going to talk about Daniel. Please join us. Have a wonderful day. And remember, the Constitution matters.